now. Obviously, Hurricane Harvey made its landfall Friday around 10 p.m. Just north of Corpus in the Rockport area is where that eye wall made its landfall. A Category 4 hurricane, maximum sustained winds at around 130 miles per hour. And it was devastating for that area. And of course, you remember it kept going in towards San Antonio, and then it ran into that front, that stalling cold front. Now, cold is a relative term. It's a front that has drier air. And what happened was it stalled it out. Not only did it stall it out, it made it take that U-turn, and it came to Houston. And I think we all kind of know what happened once Tropical Storm, at that point, Tropical Storm Harvey arrived at the Houston area. All the flooding came with it. So that's kind of where we find ourselves now. But we're beginning to talk about the end now. Now, we're not over and we're not at the end, but I think we can start talking about the end. And one of the reasons that's a pretty clear indication of this is that we no longer have a flash flood warning for any of the spots that are in our area. Now, I need to clarify that there is going to be flooding taking place across our area for a couple more days or even longer, but that flooding is going to be associated with water that is already on the ground. It's going to be what is normally referred to as a river flooding event. So the water has to get to the bayous, the creeks, or the rivers, and then as it moves downstream, it could cause devastation even further down. So flooding is still in the future for the folks here in the Houston area. And this also is going to sort of revolve around our reservoirs that are over on the west side of town. The Barker and the Addicks reservoirs are going to have some issues for a while, a long while. But we're moving away from a flash flooding event, from where we're seeing the flooding because of the water that's actually falling from the skies, the rains, the storms, the downpours that are happening. And we don't have any flash flooding warning at the moment. We still have the flood watch because the potential is there. It could still happen with this rain that's coming from Harvey, but we're not expecting it as much. We'll just put it that way. So the center of rotation of Harvey, or the middle of Harvey, is pretty due south of the Houston area, and we'll continue to watch it slowly, very slowly move right along the coast with a northeast movement, slower than I want it to be. And still, that's giving it enough of an opportunity for all this rain to hit the Houston area. But you'll notice the worst of the rain is further over to the east, and we're kind of getting maybe a little bit of a break from that. So here's the forecast path from the National Hurricane Center. The main thing that I'm noticing here is the speed of this, 3 miles an hour. I don't expect a lot of increase in strength, and you can see that here in the forecast, still maintaining that 45-mile-an-hour winds. But we are expecting, again, that slow movement, and that's enough to create some more of the rain across our area. While we're talking about the winds not being as much of a damaging type of a situation, it's definitely going to be a nuisance at some times, and maybe it could create a bit of a problem or two, but especially if you're closer to where that makes its landfall. These are sustained winds that are currently taking place across our area. And so, yeah, right along the coast, you're definitely going to feel those breezy conditions a little bit more. I want to show you the futurecast here on this particular computer model, and you'll notice the trend is that all of that rain is slowly moving over to the east, and slowly Houston begins to clear from the west to the east. So we're not going to be rushing this too much, because this is not going to happen as fast as we want it to. We want it to just be done by the end of the day today, and it's going to just begin to get there by the end of the day. The exiting of Harvey has begun, but it hasn't taken all of the threats that go along with that. So as we look at the rest of today, to begin with, this flood watch that's currently in place, that's an improvement. We're no longer under a warning, we're under a watch. So that's improvement. Again, it's stressing that has to do with the winds, with the rain that could fall, the flash flooding that could come from falling rain that's currently. The roadways that still have water on them, they're not receding anytime soon, because those rivers and our bayous are still maxed out to capacity. So flooding is still something that is happening across the Houston area, and it will continue to happen for days ahead, but it's not going to be because of rain that is still taking place. And so we're not going to call that a flash flooding event. We're still going to call it flooding, but it's going to be because of that rain that has already taken place across our area. So Melissa and Jose, again, it's one of those situations where we're talking about the beginning of the improvements. At least we're to the point now where we can start discussing it, and hopefully it'll come to happen quickly here across the Houston area.
What a wonderful thing. Thank you so very much. Now you're giving us reason to be very, very optimistic.
Yes, it makes us feel a little bit better anyway. Yes.